What up? What up? Happy Thursday and welcome to the Grit and Grind Show. Today's show is being brought to you by the Mental Game Performance Coaching. Go to tmgperformancecoaching.com and sign up for a free game planning session to see how our coaches can help you unlock the best version of the athlete you are meant to be. Chinook seeds, 8 flavors, mild to wild. Go to your local gas station, grocery store, convenience store, and pick up the best sunflower seeds in the game. And finally, Old Dominic Distillery. Go to olddominicdistillery.com. Pick up your favorite bourbon, vodka, whiskey, gin. Get the party started the right way with Old Dominic Distillery. Speaking of party, we got to get to it. We got Matt Hornaday. He is the owner, coach of the Palm Beach Breakers. Not only is he the coach, the owner, but he is the reigning, defending, undisputed 2025 United Grid League Coach of the Year. Matt, my brother, it's been a minute. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm good. I'm blessed. It's always nice to get a chance to talk to some breakers, and you've been a great friend of mine for the past little over a year now. It's been amazing to say that, but while I'm on that sentiment, hey man, thanks for everything. You're one of the first guys in Grid that kind of talked to me, and I appreciate that. So I want you to know, big fan of yours, dude. Big fan.
Appreciate it, man. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed your first year. It's been awesome. Obviously, you interviewing a bunch of the athletes throughout the whole sport on our team has been phenomenal. So we appreciate the work that you do as well, man.
Well, thank you. And off the top in the intro, 2025 Grid League Coach of the Year. Let's start with the obvious part. Obviously, it's amazing to have that, but really, what does it mean to you to be voted by your peers as the Coach of the Year?
It's cool, but really, to me, it's always been, and it is for us at least, a team award. I told my wife that I was like, maybe you could call me the GM of the year, but the Coach of the Year would be my whole squad, because every single person had a piece to do with how we performed this year, right? Like the great thing about our team is that we've always taken it from a family perspective, and everybody's got a voice, right? And so there's been times when somebody else came up with a better idea than I did, and we went with that, and it worked out. Like, I think one of the perfect examples for that for us was when we were in Dallas. Sabrina had a better idea for what we should do with our aerials, and we hit that, and everybody was talking about how amazing that was. And I'm just like, dude, it wasn't me. I wish I could take the credit, but that was all her. And that's just how we ran the whole season. And so it helped us out tremendously. So it's the team award, not just mine.
So when you talk about like a personal award like that, do those awards matter to you, or is it solely like championship? That's the big award for you.
I would have definitely taken the championship over Coach of the Year. No question about that. But it's still an honor. It's still an honor because our team got recognized. I mean, from the awards that we got, Strength Specialist of the Year, Rookie of the Year, Coach of the Year, those are all great awards. And it just shows that, the Breakers are getting acknowledged for the hard work that they've been putting in, right? Vita's been on our team for 5 years. And she's gotten 2 Strength Specialists of the Year awards. And honestly, I'd say that girl should have probably won it multiple years, let alone some MVPs. But unfortunately, our performance on the grid didn't always allow that. And you see, as we start to excel, we're getting more acknowledgement from that. So that was important to us as a team.
Absolutely. I mean, you talk about those individual performance awards from some amazing athletes, but let's talk about it. 2 years ago, you got to make a change. So like looking back 2 years ago and then looking at where you're at today, like how did you turn it around? Like what is the blueprint? If I wanted to replicate this with another team, like what is the blueprint for doing that?
So I think that could be a little bit different for every team, right? What I'll say our blueprint was that we found the right core. And then from that core, we continued to add like-minded people, right? And so we had Vita, right? We had Josh and Shay in their rookie seasons. We had Yoda. We got Reese back. Like that was, some of that core from the original team that we had. And then we were able to add amazing pieces around them to continue to excel, right? And the biggest thing was that everybody, like egos were completely out the door. And the focal point was, what can we do to win? You know, what can we do to make this team successful? And the amount of work, effort, and money that people put in to try to make that happen is why we saw that shift.
Yeah, I mean, it's really and truly like finding the right mix of players because the egos, like you said, you have to eliminate those and it has to be team first oriented because if it's not and people start worrying about, well, I'm in it for the reps that I'm going to get. I'm in it for these particular reasons and not about what's best for the team. Then you start running into these problems. Would you say that was a problem prior to this season?
Um, Not even necessarily that people were worried about just getting their specific reps, but I'd say it was the commitment level was our problem before. And so how much time people were able to commit to actually practicing, how much time they just dedicated to their teammates, the relationship that they had with the other athletes on the team. Like all of those things were completely different for us this year. And the relationships I think were one of the biggest pieces, right? And because of those relationships, people wanted to work even harder to support their friends. And that was a game changer.
Well, you're talking to one game changer right here, Haley Booker. Said you can give them the recipe, but the sauce just ain't gonna taste the same. So
Facts.
it does definitely have something to do with what you guys are doing on the Breakers. Um, Last season, when you when did you know you had something special? Was it the first practice? Was it based on the athletes that you had, or did it take a match before you're like, oh shit, like
It was before that.
we got something here?
Run the tape back, man. We talked after I think one of our first practices. Honestly, before we even got to practice, I knew that this team was going to be completely different. So our first combine was in January, and usually what we had planned was we were going to Alabama, and the goal was to capture some athletes out there, right? What I got from the rest of the team, I mean, veterans that were already on the team. We had people that were interested in joining the team, but veterans inside the league as well. And all of these people are saying, Matt, I want to be there. I want to come. Like, I'm going to spend the money to drive to Alabama or fly to Alabama to make it there for this combine, right? That was something that you would never see before. I mean, honestly, we've held combines in the state of Florida. And like our veteran athletes, if they were there, they might show up to support, but they weren't going to say like, no, I'm jumping in and working with these guys. Right. So that first quote unquote combine or tryout ended up being an actual practice for us. And the reason for it and the reason for that success was because all of the veterans that were part of the team already or were going to be part of the team all were committed to coming and supporting, and like every single one of them threw down. I mean, shoot, Jojo and Alyssa missed a flight and drove 14 hours. I mean, I kid you not, they got there at the very beginning of our tryout, and Jojo passed out at some point in time taking a nap because he drove 14 hours to get there. But like that was the level of commitment, and he still threw down that day. And so like it's never been seen, at least in any team that I've owned. It's never been like that before.
So now the bar is set. Does it make your job easier to bring players in or harder because you have to now raise the expectations for everybody that comes in?
Um, Good question. So we're going to keep our same culture. So from that perspective, it's if people fit our culture, then of course we would love to bring them in, right? Um, I'd say it makes it easier for us to say no. And so that's important to us because one thing we won't do is change our culture. Not at all, not one bit.
And that's the thing about winning too. Like now you don't have to have like you can be very selective with who you want to bring on the team because you've got this stable, you know that they're proven. And so when you need certain pieces, you can be selective about finding not just the right piece athletically, but the right piece from a mental standpoint, from a
Mhm.
mesh standpoint, from a good teammate standpoint, because there's some bad teammates out there. You've seen them. Like
Mhm.
they exist out there, and they, and even the good teammates on certain teams may come to other teams and not be.
Yeah.
It just doesn't mesh very well.
I think
But
going into
to
that,
answer Billy's question, yes, Billy, this is the coach of the year. He's here.
so just going off of one of the things that you said, one of the big differences for us going into this next year is this will be one of the first times we haven't had 50% turnover, 50+% turnover, right? And so every year we've had to bring in a large slew of rookies and try to get them up to speed as fast as possible. And that's typically why you end up seeing historically for the Breakers towards the end of the season, we finally start to get our swing, right? But this is going to be one of the first times that we're not going to see a 50+% turnover. And so we'll have all veterans, all experience, and people that have played together before, which will be huge for us.
We'll get into the roster a little bit because I am curious as to what it looks like right now and what you feel like it's going to look like a month from now, 2 months from now, and when the season starts. But I want to backtrack, and obviously we have to talk about the playoffs. When I talked to you that day, I said, "Hey, man, it's been a really good season. Like, what what happens, win or lose here?" And like, you were very adamant about saying, like, "Yes, I'm proud of the team, but ultimately, if we don't win it all, like, I feel like we missed an opportunity." Looking back on it, I mean, arguably, you're probably some handstand push-ups away from being in a championship match, having the opportunity to at least contend for a championship. But
We're one
what
point
would
away.
you say?
It's
Yeah,
multiple
yeah.
things
I
within that
mean,
match being one
looking
point.
at it, yeah, that's a better way
Mhm.
to put it. Like it's not one particular move, and I guess that's really the question: is when you look back on that match, what was it? What happened? I mean, obviously, we can talk about handstand push-ups. We could talk about a certain race, but like from your vantage point as the coach on the grid, like was it other things that contributed to that just being a bad situation, or was that ultimately you just didn't perform well in that and that's what cost you?
No, it was we just had a couple errors throughout the whole match, to be honest. There were several races early on that we should have won, and it just didn't go in our favor. And so it put us a little bit more in the hole than we would have expected. Um, as a coach, I threw the bonus flag on ladder and I was wrong. That gave him the extra point, right? If I wouldn't have thrown that flag, even if we would have lost that, we go to gridlock, right? Or we throw that bonus flag on sprint relay. So
In
that's there's a lot of things that come up that happened in that match.
in retrospect, like what was it about the ladder where you're like, I'm throwing the bonus flag? Because to me, you have to practice that and you have to be really confident. At least there's two reasons you're throwing the bonus flag. One is because you have to, because you have no other way of getting back in the match and you got to take a chance. Or two, you are super confident in what your team can do in a certain race. So for you, to me, I'm assuming it's the confidence part that you
It was
believe, like,
definitely two.
I've seen these guys in practice, like, I know what my athletes can do, but what happened?
Yeah. So if you go back to Dallas and you saw what we did on the regular snatch ladder, like get it 100%. This is a complex. I got
Yeah.
it, right? It's going to take us a little extra time to do the reps. There's a second movement, so there's another opportunity to fail. But we had also practiced it as well. And so what I was confident in what we would have delivered, we just didn't. And that was the change. And it was even still like even with that, so the number that we had projected was significantly higher than where we landed, right? But even with us not hitting that projected number, we still had an opportunity. But then it comes down to speed on the grid, right? Like we didn't get one of the fastest snatchers in the league on the floor. One of the best snatchers on the league did not hit the floor on ladder, and that makes no sense. So that's another thing where We were
Was
trying
that
to be
by
strategic.
design, or was that just I fucked it up? Like, I should have, like, led with him or had him go earlier. Like, what was the reasoning? You just in practice it moved fast and you figured you're gonna have enough time?
Yeah, we were supposed to have enough time for him to go. And the thought process was at that point, if we had any concern or risk of like somebody having to skip a bar because of time, he would have been one of the fastest to skip a bar and jump to bar number 3 or bar number 4 if we needed to, right? And still be able to knock it out quickly. And so yeah, we definitely were expecting to have enough time for him to go. And if there was any risk that he would be able to quickly make those adjustments to still make sure we capture the points.
Right. So when you look back, let's play the other side of the coin here. Let's say you win against the Lions. Do you think you guys put up a chance to beat the Sharks, or you don't really know?
Here's what I'll say on that, man. We won't know because we didn't play, right? But we did play the Sharks in that match the year prior. Both
I
teams
think
are
we were
obviously
cheated. I think we were cheated this year. We didn't get you or the Sharks against each other ever, and I'm not a fan of that.
yeah. Well, we had one job to do,
Yeah.
and we didn't execute. And so it's extremely unfortunate, but yeah, we played them in that championship match the year prior. And so we were excited, and it was a really close match, and so we were excited to get a rematch against them, with a little bit of improvement on our roster overall year over year too. So
Do you think this playoff match against the Lions, do you think having as many new players as you did, do you think that added any extra pressure, or did that even play a factor into winning or losing?
you mean rookies?
Yeah.
No. I mean, honestly, like our rookies were extremely poised from the very first match, and so like I don't think that was really it. It just there's certain days when things are just flowing for you and everything is vibing and it's great. And every once in a while you get one of those days where everything that you need to go your way isn't going your way. And I think that's just what happened to us there.
Like, I was a pitcher. I was, and that's exactly how the name of the game in baseball works, especially as a pitcher. There are days where you feel unhittable, and there's an occasional day where you can't miss bats. You just
Yeah.
can't. Like, they just tattoo
Yeah.
everything.
And we still had
So
some really good highlights in that match too,
yeah,
though, right? Like I remember just going off the top of my head. I know there was one situation where Reese had to jump up on the rig, was not planned to do it, and it worked extremely seamlessly. And he knocked out a couple triple touches, and that was huge. And then he goes straight to the rings to do toe to ring back up rise, right?
yeah,
And that was not on his schedule of things to do. We had again the handstand push-ups. We had to have some athletes step in and do some handstand push-ups or deficit handstand push-ups that they weren't planning to do.
yep,
We had Dilly got to get his revenge on the burpee to rings, and so
yep,
that was huge for us. Oh, Haley just said the same thing, but
yeah.
that was huge for us, and so there were still a lot of big successes in that match. We didn't come out the victory in that one.
Yeah, and and I'm sure you probably have. We could pick it apart and beat it to death, but the reality is it's over. You can't go back and change it now, but what you can do is plan for the future. So
Mhm.
let's talk a little bit about the future. What currently are you working on now? What's the big thing that you're trying to get accomplished right now?
Roster and sponsorships. So we're bringing back a majority of our athletes, which is great, but we do have to fill some holes, and so we're working on that as we speak. And then we really want to increase our sponsorships for this year, and so that's another big emphasis for us during this off season.
Okay. What when we talk about sponsorships, you talk about big sponsorships. What is Are you looking for a title sponsor? Are you looking for just whoever? Like, what does that mean? Big
Good
sponsorships.
question. Good question. So what we want is somebody that wants to partner with us as a team, right? And can deliver value and with us and our network, right? So our athletes, our fans, that's the focal point. And so we actually one of our sponsors going into the next year is Totem, who we just partnered up with, which is an awesome like app, that just a fitness app in general. It's like the fitness app on steroids, and they're about to do another launch, revamping the app, and so it's going to be even better before the start of the season. And so that's a huge partnership that we've already locked in for next season. And so you guys will hear more about that, but we want to continue to create more partnerships like that, right? So we've talked to some other people. Some of it's product based, right, where it's going to be stuff for our fans and stuff for our athletes as well. But then there's other parts of it where it's marketing and monetary based as well.
Gotcha. Do you have a number in mind that you try to accomplish when it comes to sponsorship, like a goal, or is it just whatever it ends up being, you just want to have the right people partnering with you?
I'll tell you, this sport isn't cheap, and so if we if we don't get the sponsorships for it, it comes out of my pocket. So it's one or the other. So my goal is usually to at least be able to break even, right? So get enough sponsors and sponsorship dollars to cover our team's overhead for the season. And a big portion of that overhead is I mean, we have our league dues. We're going to have a photographer, videographer there for all of our matches, right? So that's important for us as well. Social media management is another big piece for us too. And then you've got traveling expenses, lodging, all that good stuff. And so it's expensive. It's not cheap as a team owner. And so the most we could possibly get to support all of those is always the goal. But as far as what that exact number is, I don't think it really matters for this. But the bigger thing is like the sponsorship levels that we can accept, I think would be more important. And everything is customizable, right? So if you're a sponsor that you have a $1,500 budget, whatever it is, right? We can create something that makes sense for both parties, even with that. So,
Right. And the more team sponsors you have, I'm sure it makes it an easier conversation for players to get individual sponsors when they're like, hey, this is who's backing us this season. Like, want to be a part of this, So it kind of goes hand in hand. And like you said, I think it's more about having a partnership where not, it's so often where you get sponsors and you ask of them, but I think it's important that teams be able to give back to that sponsor, give them something in return. And so when you talk about social media, management, you talk about videographer, photographer, being able to enhance the brand and get it out there, like that's means something to sponsors, and they want to see those things. And those are some of the things that you can give back to them. So obviously, definitely a movement in the right direction as far as trying to increase awareness on who the breakers are. Winning always helps too.
It changes a lot of things for us this year. Definitely did.
So let's talk roster. That was the next thing that you mentioned. All right. All I've seen, it's been very quiet on the Breakers front, with the exception of the re-signing of Haley Booker. My question is who's coming back? Because to me, if you're only showing Haley as the re-sign, I mean, I have to believe that that's not the case, because you're telling me you're going to have some veterans coming back. So who's coming back?
We're bringing back pretty much the majority of the roster. So more have signed than just Haley, and everybody has access. Like all the league owners have access to all of that stuff too, right? So there's no surprises about that. There are some athletes that we have that it's like an every year thing that They love to just make me nervous and wait until the last minute to sign. And then they're like, of course, Matt, of course I was coming back.
Let,
That's part of the
let me go
process.
ahead and schedule Reese's interview. Let me go ahead and do it now.
If you could, that's he said he was committing the day before the last time. So
Yeah.
But that's one of the things too, is that, the sad part is that people have life events, right? And things that are changing for them that are causing them to spend less time in the sport. And that always sucks, right? And so there is always that opportunity or that possibility that you might not be able to keep someone, or they may just not play as much as they normally did, like be at every single match because of that. The cool thing is that we've got enough depth or availability on our roster to be able to, handle that, right? And so we're allowed to have 10 athletes signed, and you can only play 8 in a match. And so you've got 2 extras in theory for every single match. And so even if we have somebody that can only play in 1 to 2 matches, right, that are closer to where they are because it doesn't impact them as much from a travel perspective, like, we have that ability. And so that's some of the stuff that we've always kept top of mind for all of our athletes.
Well, is this guy coming back? He said sponsors this year get to sponsor the 2026 championship match. So.
Facts. That is the selling pitch. Of course, Josh is coming back, man. That's my brother, dude. Like,
shout out to Josh and Trey.
100%.
Off the grid. I mean, they're taking a leap, man. I'm jealous of that. Opening up their own gym, like,
it's about to be the best gym in the Shoals. There's no question about that. They're led by 2 dynamic athletes, and great personalities and great people. And I mean, I wish if I wasn't in Japan, like, I would have tried to fly out for their opening. Like, it was that important. And I'm just so happy for those guys. Like, honestly, even talking about it now, I'm getting goosebumps. But they're great people, great coaches, and they're going to shine. And so anybody that's out in the Muscle Shoals area, if you haven't checked out that gym, you're missing out already. So hurry up and get your butt over there.
Yeah, for sure. I told Josh, I said, man, I don't know what would ever bring me there, but if I do, I'm definitely dropping in. So got to.
It's not a bad fight.
I mean, if I ever head back to Memphis, I might make the drive down just to check it out and hang out. So, Sabrina's talking about, she's keeping you on your toes. She wants you to wait. She might resign. Who knows?
No, she kept me on my toes last season too. And then signed, I think it was like March timeframe. And oh man, we were super excited about that. And so she played me again this time, but she eventually signed.
There you go. Who's not coming back?
Who's not?
I'll make it easy for you. I'll give you a name. JoJo sticks in my mind because when I interviewed him, I said, this was in the playoffs. I said, JoJo, well, what's the scenario for next season? And he basically said he might be done. He might be in a coaching role. He wasn't 100% either way. But for you, like, what's JoJo doing?
JoJo's part of the family, man. Any part of being involved with this team, he will always have full access to. And again, even as we talk about, when you guys talk about this coach of the year, he was one of the major parts of us getting to where we were at, And so he's also a guy that I tried to get way back in the day when he left the Freaks, and I couldn't get him. And so to get him now with the Breakers, like, that was phenomenal. But I would always want JoJo to be involved with the squad. So as long as he doesn't retire, he's got a spot with us, man.
All right, let's stop beating around the bush, man. Who's not coming back? Can he say any names, or is it too early to tell?
Honestly,
don't give me this coach speak. Well, he's a part of the family, and he's always going to be a part of the family.
I told you, man. I'm not the one for the great.
That.
You're not going to get the great lines out of me, I don't think, man. But I tell you, so Kirsten, she had surgery this off season. Well, actually, she had it right before playoffs, which was extremely unfortunate. So that would be about it. I mean, outside of that, if we've like Evan moved, so he moved to Nashville, and so we're waiting for him to figure out his schedule, make sure he can come back. But um, when he officially figures out his schedule, or we help him figure out that schedule, he'll be coming back. But that's one that has not signed yet and waiting on. But let's see, what else do I got? Reese is another one that had a life event, and where that one's a tough one. That's my boy too. But he's got a lot of work this year. And
Yeah.
so as of now, he is TBD, but we're hoping that that changes. So if you could just go ahead and schedule that interview with him, that would
Got you.
help
Let me
out.
reach out to him ASAP. Okay, so what's the timeline? How long do those players have to commit?
The end of the everybody's got to be signed, I believe, by April, because it comes down to when the jerseys and everything has to be submitted. And so usually our end of signing period is like April 1st, something like that. For us, April 1st, we're already 4 months into our off-season programming.
Right.
So we'll already be rocking and rolling with that. Um, but yeah, that's like the time frame for that.
But it makes it tricky, like when you have players that you really want to come back, but they have these life events, and you can't blame them. It's really tough for them to make a decision, but yet, as you know, you have to fill the roster. Like you have to make sure you have somebody, because what you can't do is go into the end of April with uncertainty of whether someone's going to be here or not. Because if they're not, then you're really screwed. Um, you
Yeah.
know,
So we have an open body weight position right now. So any guys that are looking for it, you've got an opportunity to jump on an amazing team, win a championship with the Breakers, and take the lead in that spot. So
Nate
that's what's
Nate
there.
says Evan and Reese need to get that figured out. So
That is a fact.
fact. But what's the message to the team this year? Obviously, it's different than what it was last year. It's probably evolved, but when you get the team for the first time, what is going to be the message to them?
You know what's interesting about that is like I saw this video last night, and and it was Jameis Winston, and he's a character.
Oh, I let me tell you something. You want good sound bites, just mic him up and you're gonna get some gold.
hundred
Never
percent,
disappoints.
100%. But one of the things he said was he was on it was an interview with him, right? And they were just talking about like um I think they asked him like about his success or failures or something like that. And the main thing I took out of it is that he said, you know what? Honestly, I think I didn't dream big enough, right? Like the dream was, okay, I made it to the league. Like I want to make it to the league. But I never dreamed about being in the Super Bowl and winning the Super Bowl, right? Like I just dreamed about making it to the league, and that was the goal. And so like I mean it really resonated with me, because I even think about like we had our goals, and of course our end goal was winning the championship, but there was a major emphasis on making it to the playoffs, right? And we hit that, and I feel like that was when I heard that, I was like, that's where I failed my team, right? Because our goal was to win a championship, but we hit success at making the playoffs, and we needed to get over that hump. And so my focal point for the team is that we're dreaming big, right? There's only one way for us to go this season, and we've got one focal point, and it's not making the playoffs. That's an undertone, an understatement. It's going to happen. The next thing that's going to happen is the championship.
I just laughed. I was looking at the Instagram comments. Dan Jackson says, "I'd play for Matt just to be able to look deep into his eyes every practice."
Dan, you could just call me. You can
Oh,
FaceTime me. It's all good.
and just stare. No words, just stare. Oh man. All right, Matt. Last question before I let you bounce, man. What are the expectations? Is there expectations on the team now
Yeah.
that you've had a winning season and you know what they're capable of?
I think we just said what it was: dream big and win that championship. It's and of course that's everybody's goal, right? I think you've seen it throughout the history of the sport, right? The teams inching their way up there, right, to get to that spot. And that's where the Sharks were last year, and then this year they got to the championship. And I think that it's our time to shine. So it's our time to inch up to that championship and win it.
Hey, remember every good Disney movie starts with a tragedy. So you had your
That is good.
tragedy. Now it's time to end the story the right way. But Matt, man, it's going to be an awesome season. I know off season is in the swing. You got rosters to fill. You've got sponsors to grab. But before you get out of here, anything you want to plug or promote?
Big thing that we already talked about is obviously be on the lookout for that updated Toto map. That's going to be huge. We'll be utilizing it. The cool thing with that too, though, is that like you guys will be able to get access to some of the training that our athletes do, right? And you'll be able to even link up with them if you want to do some private training sessions with them as well.
Oh, wow.
So you can train like the breakers do, and it'll all be able to run through that app. And so you'll be able to get your merch through that app as well. So there's a bunch of big things that we're going to be doing through there. So be on the lookout for that. Other than that, just watch us. We're quiet now, but there was more than one person that signed. I'll just tell you that.
So basically, what I hear you saying is that I can buy gear and train like a breaker and just pretend that I'm a breaker.
That's a fact. You can join the breaker family.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard. So
That's a fact.
on social media, I'm gonna get all the breakers gear. I'm gonna train like a breaker, and guess what? I'll never be a breaker. I'll never be able to be.
I don't know, man. You might just get ready for it.
I don't know. I think I could surprise some people. I think I could still do some stuff, but not to the level where it would be anything close to what you guys see on a day-to-day basis. You'd just be like, oh, that's okay. That's good for you, but not like, wow, that's pretty good.
Hey, I had my one stint back in I think it was like 2018. I had to fill in, and that was, I didn't do much, but I did a little bit, and that was about all I had. And it was retirement right after that.
Yeah, I would definitely be very selective. Like I would definitely be like, nope, not doing that. Nope, not doing that. I'll do that. But like only because there's probably a handful of things that I actually could do, and most of the things I couldn't. But
yeah.
Hey, that's why grid's a professional sport, and I sit on the sidelines and talk about it because that's where I need to be.
Hey, I was about to say, you and me both. I just talked to our athletes on the sidelines about it.
Oh, there it is. Well, Matt, man, I wish you best of luck. If there's anything you need from me, man, reach out.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for the time.
Yes,
Go
sir.
Breakers.
That's Matt Hornaday, owner, coach, GM. You know it. You call it. He does it all for the Breakers. If you like hearing Matt's story, or you just like hearing Average Joe's talk X's and O's, please like, share the podcast on Facebook. Head over to X, retweet, do the things that you do. Leave some positive comments, because if you leave negative comments, I don't look at them because I ain't got the time in the day to deal with it. Also, like, subscribe, notifications on YouTube, new content dropping every day. This one is going up as soon as I hit end, and we'll be back next week, couple weeks. We got more athletes to talk to, more coaches to talk to. We got more re-signs coming along the pipe. So y'all stick around, stay tuned. Appreciate y'all. As always, remember, strong body, sharp minds, grit and grind all the time. We're out.